Football is America's favorite pastime. In fact, 110 million people watched the 2015 Super Bowl. The NFL practically owns a day of the week, which is probably why their revenue was $9.8 billion last season. That's billion, with a B. Even beyond the pros, it's not too hard to find fanatics all the way down to the kids level. Some youth leagues began full contact football as early as 4th grade. Friday Night Tykes showcases this craziness and intensity, and also what happens when football is taken a little too seriously.
This is the elite level of football for youth sports. When they put that helmet on, it's time to go to battle. We want every kid to be tough, aggressive, and physical, because that's the way we play football. Show me what you got. You got it?
But from its core foundations, football is losing its power. Less and less kids are tossing the old pigskin. And not because we've lost the love of the game, but rather because mom and dad won't let them. Over the last decade, studies have surfaced showing just how dangerous playing football can be. Beyond the broken bones and scraped knees, one of the most unrecognized and dangerous injuries in any football league is concussions.
A concussion is a brain injury. People think of it as getting your bell rung or getting a ding. But the truth of the matter is that it's a brain injury.
All that has to happen for you to get a concussion is for your brain to move around inside your skull.
A host of different symptoms. They range from things such as headache and nausea and vomiting, but it could be feeling mentally slow.
Visual problems, sensitivity to light, ringing in the ears, balance problems.
This can result from either a hit to the head or the body. Where do you imagine that this happens a lot?
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.
Concussions are nothing new in the medical world. So why is it that only recently parents have begun to keep their kids out of sports? A little over a decade ago, Dr. Bennett Amalu, a Nigerian-born neurologist, published a paper connecting football players to chronic traumatic encephalopathy. His research in 2002 showed repetitive brain trauma, even from hits that don't result in doctor-diagnosed concussions, leads to degenerative cognitive functions and often premature deaths. With this new information, it began to make sense why all of these NFL players were dying before the age of 50, and it also explains the suicides of other NFL players who were suffering from depression. More and more scientists began to research this, and the evidence became overwhelming, despite the NFL adamantly fighting these accusations, which might hurt their billion-dollar business. As the mainstream America began to catch wind of this, people almost immediately began implementing changes into high school and youth sports. Leagues outlaw helmet-to-helmet contact and hitting drills involving head contact. Football helmets were being made to absorb blows more effectively, and extra emphasis was being put on tackling correctly. Beyond new regulations on the field, almost all schools require concussion testing services that are designed to diagnose traumatic brain injuries early on.
The assessment is called IMPACT, and it's one tool doctors at Beacon Orthopedics use to monitor an athlete's progress after a concussion.
Everybody's head injury is a major brain injury until proven otherwise.
It does just that, testing the brain's ability to react and remember. Ideally, athletes have a baseline at the beginning of the season and then successive tests after a concussion.
The publicity on concussions has taken its toll on recreational sports. Youth football players are down 9.5% from 2010 to 2012. And Evan Dillon, a recreational football player, shared his experience with concussions.
Started playing football when I was in 4th grade. Yeah, I got knocked out twice, and I'm sure there have been a couple other times. I did not. If you get concussion testing, the way it works, you're out for it can be up to a month, and I didn't really want to give up that time, so I never told anyone really, and just kind of never got tested, so I was never evaluated for concussions. I'm not a big believer in stopping people from doing that kind of stuff. But as far as if I had a kid, I would definitely wait until like 7th, 8th grade to really start. I think 4th is a little bit young, because there was just such a big problem with our league that I played in back then. Is there was such a gap in the size of kids. Even though there was a weight range that you had to make, you had to be so heavy or so light between these two weights to play. But there was still just kids who could run that much faster, and you know how it is. There's such a gap with little kids that kids really get hurt, and that's still when you're developing with research and stuff that I've heard. So looking back on it, probably wasn't the best idea, and I don't think I would put my own kid through that. But I'm not like 7th and 8th grade. Definitely freshman in high school. I'm okay with starting playing full contact football by then.
Even ex-NFL players and political figures admit that they wouldn't let their sons play football. President Obama has expressed that he wouldn't allow his hypothetical son to participate in the sport. Other professional athletes, such as LeBron James, have also broadcasted their concerns in regards to their children playing football. LeBron has stated that while he may let his kids play in the future, the sport is certainly not an option as of the present. In agreement with this mindset, previous Dallas Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman would not allow his 10-year-old son to play football due to the recent exposure of concussions. Despite all of these recent precautions, the truth is the nature of the game is dangerous, and no amount of carbon fiber helmets or correct tackling techniques is going to eliminate head trauma when two people are running full speed into each other. What makes this issue even more severe is that some players have found a way to cheat the required concussion evaluations. The athletes will purposely perform poorly on the tests before their season begins, so that the results are compliant to those when tested with a concussion. This hazardous behavior is a result of the immense pressure put on high school athletes to receive college scholarships, when in reality very few will actually play collegiate football and are statistically granted to only 2% of high school athletes. Despite the low percentage, athletes adopt football as a lifestyle with the belief that they can become a part of this scarce number. With this mindset, it is not surprising that they would compromise their health and safety for a chance at professional league success. However, with the addition of research conducted within the past few years, the media has been pushing awareness to the damaging side effects of football. In a reaction to this, the NFL has been attempting to conceal the truth about head injuries because of the danger it poses to their billion-dollar industry. Despite their efforts, Head Games, a 2012 documentary, exposes the epidemic of concussions in all sports, not just football. League of Denial, aired in 2013, emphasizes the NFL's cover-up and refusal to acknowledge the scientific backing around the matter.
What League of Denial is about the invisible disease attacking the brains of football players. According to the scientists we talked to, the cumulative effect of maybe as many as 1,500 hits a year, the likelihood that your brain has a lot of damage done to it is very high.
Both of these documentaries reveal the lifelong detrimental effects of concussions on the brain, especially through ex-NFL players. The upcoming movie Concussion tells the story of Bennett Omalu, the Nigerian doctor that rose awareness of the issue of traumatic brain injury in football to the public, despite the NFL's efforts to suppress his findings. This information is only recently coming to light because we are now seeing the long-term effects on athletes who played in the NFL 20 years ago. With this in mind, football does teach young adults discipline, perseverance, and strength. Only a small percentage of players will actually experience a concussion, and even fewer will have long-lasting side effects. Outside of the NFL and other sports leagues, chronic traumatic encephalopathy is very rare, and it is usually under the intense and extreme conditions of pro sports where this occurs. Playing football still promotes physical wellness, team bonding, and determination. All of this information has come to light in the 21st century, and we are amid this cultural shift. As more and more research is conducted and the evidence becomes overwhelmingly strong, parents will become even more wary of letting their sons play. Will the effects of less kids playing football become evident in the future as skill level decreases with less competition at the professional level? Has the dominance of professional football surpassed its prime? Or will America continue to ignore the issue as players sacrifice their bodies for a few short years of money and fame? Regardless, the reality is that 110 million people watched the Super Bowl in 2015. So while America still may be obsessed, you have to ask yourself, will you let your kid play football?
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the